welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. No, sorry, take two. Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is a metaphysician, creator of the metaphysics, of course, a spiritual educator, and author, none other than Mr. Reginald Martin.
Thank you for having me here, Daniel. I'm very excited to be here with you.
Welcome, Mr. Reginald. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
So I am the creator of the Metaphysics, Sacred Alchemy, and Paradoxical Heka. And these are systems that basically work interchangeably here. So we got uh, metaphysics is really kind of reorganizing the map of how we think about ourselves, and then paradoxical Heka is giving us processes and tools that help us to actually integrate ourselves from a system and a perspective of wholeness rather than brokenness. So we're going to be rewriting a lot of what society has taught us, and it actually works in a very very powerful way that a lot of people just hadn't realized. But ancient teachings have been teaching about these ideas for centuries, just kind of giving us the Cliff Notes version. So now I'm gonna kind of bring it all together.
Mr. Reginald, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today let's talk about Beyond Belief, Identity Resurrection for Spirituality Evolve Leaders. So tell us, Mr. Reginald, let's start with the powerful term identity resurrection. Why is it resurrections a more accurate description for the process than, say, reinvention or rediscovery?
Yeah, because in this context, resurrection is about remembering. Okay, so that's really what the ancient term meant, was remembering who you are. So it is it's an ontological shift. When I say ontology, an ontological shift, that means the idea of who we are being. So it's a study of our being. From most of society, we are taught ontologically in a context of some way we're broken. We're broken. We need fixing. We need psychological help. We need, a lot of different things. Okay, and it's from that perspective. But from a metaphysics perspective, it's an ontology of you being whole. So you are in the essence in physical form. So a lot of ways or one way you might have heard this is we are souls having a human experience. Well, that grounds us in the idea of being a soul, and we're having a human experience rather than being a broken human and trying to attain the goal of becoming more of a soul. Okay, so that's a different shift, and that's the ancient shift that we have. So when you operate from that perspective, instead of being broken, you are aligned. And when you operate from yourself as a knowing that you are the essence in physical form, then it shifts you from trying to attain being a soul as a goal to actually living from that perspective. So that's the difference. That's a shift in thinking about your being, and that in itself is a very very powerful way to access life from.
A very powerful. I like that, Mr. Reginald. And what does the shedding process feel like for a leader? Is it
What
a
does
sudden, dramatic collapse or belief, or a slow, quiet unraveling?
so the process itself, and we're talking about here what paradoxical hecka. And what paradoxical hecka is actually taking life's trials and tribulations that we might have that fragments us. Okay, we might feel stressed, because we're fragmented between success and failure. Okay, uh, we might feel unloved because we feel lonely rather than being connected with someone. So these are like two poles that we're operating from. So as far as leaders are concerned, they might be operating from that success and failure way. But what we'll do with paradoxical hecka is actually recognize and honor both poles in order to create peace within ourselves. Okay. So what that might look like, Daniel, is I might be on my job and I might be struggling, okay, to get done what I need to get done. So I feel like, if I don't do this, then I can be a failure. I won't be successful. But what we might do in those moments is we honor the idea of, or the fear of being a failure, but then recognizing as a soul having a human experience, you are supported and successful simply by being here in this a plane, earth plane of existence, if that makes sense. So you honor both poles, and by honoring both poles, you create peace. Whereas normally, when you're looking at that, you're trying to bypass the stress. You're trying to overcome the stress. We might do affirmations where we speak positivity, but deep down we're feeling like you're not really acknowledging the shadow or the fears that you're dealing with, if that makes sense. But with paradoxical heka, you acknowledge that shadow, you acknowledge those fears, honor them, and then connect with your essence self, your soul self, to create the peace within. So that's how leaders might work with paradoxical heka. So the paradox is that both sides are valid. So it's this and that. So your shadow side and your soul side are valid, and you actually have the ability to reconcile both to create peace within.
Mr. Reginald, can you describe the void or the in between space that exists after the old identity has been shed, but before the new ones has been fully constructed? How does the leader navigate that liminality?
Yeah, so when you're in that liminal space, or that void space, it's a lot of times people are shifting from one set of beliefs to another. Okay, so in this context, uh, especially if you're moving from a religious perspective, where you're taught that you're sinful, that you're broken, that you need saving, um, then once you drop that, or you start to moving away from that, you don't have enough knowledge to move forward to something else, because you haven't learned, or you don't have enough knowledge yet. So you're in that space of, I have too much information to go back, and I don't have enough information to move forward. It really takes some courage to be in that space. But at that point, you recognize that you start to gaining more knowledge, and you start to getting more information to help you to move through that space. And a lot of people stay stuck in that, especially when they're deconstructing. A lot of people will stay stuck in that space, and they don't know how to move through it. And that's how metaphysics and paradoxical heka works, is that it helps you to move through that space where you can create that peace within yourself.
On the process of deconstruction and reconstruction, when deconstructing a belief system, where does one even begin? It is about questioning specific doctrines, or is it more felt sense of something no longer aligns?
So it's about really from the comedic perspective and system that I work with is unique in the sense that it shows you where the ancient or I should say the Christian doctrines where they originated and where Christianity changed them. Okay, you take what they did was they took ancient spiritual concepts and then they really dogmatized them. They created something different from them. Okay, and once they did that, they ended up removing the journey from something that was an inner journey that was us remembering who we are to basically worshiping something outside yourself. So in that sense, it is about you helping. It's about gaining the knowledge of where things were changed, so that you can empower yourself. That you don't have to stay in that liminal space. You don't have to stay stuck in fear because we're a lot of times we're taught that if we don't accept those beliefs, then of course the idea is that we can our souls are in peril. Well, that type of information that is what was distorted is just not true. So I like to say from that perspective, those ideas of eternal punishment is something new that was created by the religion. So what is new is not true, and what is true is not new. So the ancient stuff is a lot older and goes across many different spiritual systems.
What is the first most foundational piece of a new sovereign identity that a leader must build? Where do you find the material to build it?
Where do you find the material?
Just to build it.
Yeah, and that's really studying, like I said, from the perspective that I am coming from. I think that metaphysics is very unique in the sense that it's not just giving you information; it's actually showing you where the information comes from. So it's research that I've done over 20 years in this space, whether it's metaphysics, comparative religion, or whatever. So, for me, my Substack site and account is one of the best places to go to, to really get more information that you can start to really build on yourself. So, so just getting that knowledge, getting that information is a start, and then it's about really how do you operate. Okay, what is your ontology, your ground of being, and if your ground is in the essence of who you are, then that's a place that you can build a foundation because that essence becomes the baseline for you. And there's different ways energetically that you can calibrate yourself to your essence is what I teach through metaphysics and paradoxical heka.
Mr. Reginald, what is or the journey can be incredibly isolating. How does a spirituality evolve? Leader find a new sense of community and belonging without the old structures.
Yeah, that is a very difficult place for a lot of people, Daniel. So and really it is about connecting with those communities that really light you up, and really move from a place of expansion rather than contracting you. And what I mean by that is that a lot of times people want to get dogmatic, even about spiritual ideas, and they want to restrict you that says this certain way is the way to do it, and the other ways you just kind of leave them alone or you ignore them or whatever. And that's just not how you want to connect with people. You want to connect with people and communities that are about expansion, because in the end, it is about us as souls becoming more and more of who we are. Since we're all connected to the source is everything, and we can expand into that everything and be more. So connect with communities that help you expand rather than make you want to contract through fear or through holding back, if to make you feel like you don't you have to believe a certain way in order to belong. So think expansively when you're wanting to connect with people. One of the other things that I would say is I know a lot of people, especially when they move out of the dogmatic religion, they fear being, drawn back into something like that, where it's about you having to believe something, whether it's logical or not. And how I help people with that, Daniel, is to say, um, you have to recognize the difference between what dogma does and what spirituality is. And what dogma does is from a religious and from a Christian perspective, because that's what I know, is that it actually makes you worship something outside yourself. It puts the power, it puts your validation on people and things that are outside you. So it disempowers you in a way. But when you're connecting with spiritual communities and spiritual people, it's about you really developing your own journey. You're developing from within and recognizing your own divinity. That's where again you have the ground of being a soul having the human experience. Your essence self is primary to everything, and that inner journey is what is going to empower you, and not having and hoping to be validated from people and systems outside yourself. If you're getting those vibes that you have to worship, that something is outside of you, then the odds are it is going to be some type of religious or somebody really repackaging religion. So your inner journey and your inner your inner compass is the most important thing in the universe.
Mr. Reginald, the personal and the practical. Was there a specific personal resurrection story from your own life or work with clients that become a catalyst for your advocacy?
Yeah, so for me, Daniel, for personally, and I have clients that do that, but I'll talk about me because I don't want to put their business out there. But but for me, uh, one of probably some of my most difficult lessons have been learned through just my romantic and dating relationships. Okay, and what I recognized was through dating, a foundational principle is that the people that are in our lives really mirror our internal belief systems. Okay, and what that looked like for me was that it seemed like for a while every woman that I dated was the same. They were different faces, but they were pretty much the same type of woman. Okay, well, unless those women got together and conspired against me, or conspired to treat me the same way, the common denominator was me. So I had to recognize then that it was me and my belief system that was really making me choose a certain type of woman for a number of reasons. That was my resurrection. When I recognized that, that was me coming back to my ground of me and my being, and recognizing because of what I believed, I was choosing a certain type of individual to date. Okay. So, and that started me on a journey of really searching for the idea of thoughts become things, because what beliefs are habitual thoughts that are imbued with emotion and imagination. Okay. So what was my beliefs or my thoughts that were making me choose these type of individuals to date? And that was really what kind of kicked off my search in finding and delving more into the idea of metaphysics until I came upon metaphysics.
Mr. Reginald, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, a comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast law 101 and mental health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review, Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. Reginald, finally, what is the ultimate gift on the other side of this difficult journey? What does a spiritual or spiritually evolved leader who has fully embodied their sovereign identity to get experience and contribute to the world?
Yeah, the ultimate journey, Daniel, is really living life on your terms and finding the things that create joy within you. Okay. And when I say create joy within you, that means that joy becomes your guide. So that beautiful, wonderful feeling that you have of doing anything becomes the guide that leads you. Reach for that joy, and then you cannot go wrong. So live life on your terms and find the joy within you that and doing the things that light you up from within.
Mr. Reginald Martin, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I would say just right now, go to my Substack, and if you see my website here, you can see the hidden architecture of human transformation. Click on that link, and there's a free download. And also, the Woo Detector checklist is where check out the things that are not, uh, what can I say, the learn processes instead of dealing with woo woo. But Reginald Martin at Substack.com. That's the place to be.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Reginald Martin because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Reginald, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for having me.
Modicom people, see you soon.